Understanding the self becomes a beacon that helps us find our way through the turbulent waters of crises and mutation as we try to make sense of the complex web of life. It's a profound truth that the more we know about ourselves, the less scary change may seem. But how do we start this kind of journey and gain the knowledge we need to deal with the many challenges we face in life? It's interesting to think that the answer might lie in connecting the known and the unknown, where science and spirituality connect and the past and present talk to each other. But where can we find our way to this world? Who can lead us through the pages of history and the complex workings of the mind? Dolores Cannon is a master at exploring the depths of human consciousness. For decades, she has been helping to figure out the mysteries of our lives. Cannon's writing explores the complex themes of past lives, quantum healing, and the undiscovered dimensions of our universe, giving us new ideas that make us question what we think we know about the world. Her groundbreaking studies and writings give us access to the ancient knowledge of long-lost civilizations, which helps us understand how everything is connected and how much potential we all have. In this story of discovery, the work of researchers and scholars who look into old customs and lost civilizations stands out like a bright light. Their studies of the big cycles of time, like the 24,000-year precession of the equinoxes, a cycle that, according to ancient Hindu texts, affects the ages of human civilization, show a universe that is closely linked to our spiritual and temporal evolution. We are looking into how our past lives have had a huge effect on our present lives. Dolores's research into the lost knowledge of ancient civilizations, like those that once thrived in Egypt, the Americas, and other places, shows a web of technological and spiritual progress that is much more complex than what modern science can explain. Now, let's think about the idea of yugas, or great ages, which say that human development and consciousness happen in cycles. This point of view encourages us to think beyond the straight line of history and imagine a more advanced past where people were in tune with the rhythms of the universe in ways we are only now starting to understand. There are more than just ideological differences in this fight. It goes to the heart of what we believe about ourselves, our history, and the universe itself. From the heated arguments about climate change to the fast progress made in AI and biotech, we are living through a turning point in the history of human thought and identity. Because the new information and discoveries are showing that the standard model of science is wrong. This model says that the universe was created from chaos and that humans evolved randomly. Astronomers using the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope have seen things in the universe that point to a smart, living universe that can protect all of its many systems. Genetic research is making people rethink their ideas about how humans evolved, and DNA evidence has shown that modern humans appeared all of a sudden about 200,000 years ago. This contradicts the idea that we expanded slowly from less advanced ancestors. This genetic information, like the unique features of human chromosome number 2 and the fast mutations of chromosome 7, points to an amazing time when genes were changed a very long time ago. Natural evolution alone cannot account for these changes, which give us our distinctive cognitive and linguistic abilities, suggesting a possible outside influence. Archaeological sites that were found thousands of years before, the traditionally thought to be cradles of civilization, suggest that there wasn't just one place where advanced societies began, but many places around the world where they began at the same time. These civilizations, which all had advanced knowledge in math, cosmology, architecture, and other subjects, question the traditional way of teaching history, which is that events happened in a straight line. The similarities between these different cultures, especially in their large buildings and knowledge of the stars, make us wonder where their knowledge came from and if they have a shared history. When looked at in this light, studying old knowledge and combining it with new scientific findings is not just an academic exercise, but a necessary way to find out the deeper truths of our existence and the ways we can evolve as a species. We find amazing things about our history when we dig into the oceans and ice around the Earth. Secrets about our history that don't fit with normal timelines can be heard from ancient cities and civilizations. The stories in the Bhagavad Gita, which were once thought to be just myths, come to life in the submerged city in the Gulf of Kambat, India. It was found under 120 feet of water and dates back 9,500 years. In the same way, the ruins of Kerala in southern Peru challenge the common story of the start of civilization. They reveal a society that thrived and then disappeared 5,000 years ago, but its roots go back even further, adding another layer to our complex historical tapestry. As we peel back the years, Göbekli Tepe, and the new archaeological sites that we can see in Antarctica, because the ice is melting, test our ideas about how people lived in the past. This suggests that there have been many civilizations that came and went before the typical start of modern society. There are complicated structures under the ice that has covered Antarctica for more than 20,000 years. This raises an interesting question. What advanced societies were there 20,000 years ago that could build such impressive structures? The Mesoamerican, often called the Mayan calendar, is based on the idea of the Great World Ages, which are cycles of 5,125 years. These revelations fit with this idea. The changing weather and the Earth's tilt, angle and wobble, which are all part of the Milankovitch cycles, cause these natural patterns. They help us understand how civilizations rise and fall in harmony with nature. The standard model of history teaches that events happen in a straight line, but this cyclical view of history, which includes repeated times of progress and decline, is very different. There is a strong opposition in academia to including these discoveries in the main story. Anomalies that challenge the current model are often pushed to the side until someone braver steps forward to rewrite our collective story. DNA studies, cultural traditions, and archaeological finds all point to a story that is much more complicated than was thought before. Indigenous traditions around the world don't believe in slow, gradual evolution. Instead, they talk about how humans came to be as part of a larger cosmic community, suggesting a deep connection between people on Earth and influences from other planets. Archaeological sites from 25,000 or even 30,000 years ago show that the people who built them knew a lot about our solar system that, by the standard model, they should not have known. When we look at these artifacts from the point of view of someone coming into our solar system, they make us think about where our very advanced knowledge of the universe came from. At this point, we need to decide if we can accept a new human story that takes into account the evidence we have and follows it through to its logical end. This intellectual and spiritual journey asks us to think again about who we are, where we come from, and how we can use the truths of our past to shape our future. Today, it's easier than ever to get information. The work of researchers like Graham Hancock and the conversations made possible by Netflix and many online forums are democratizing knowledge, letting a new generation question, explore, and ultimately change how we think about human history. Now is an awakening time when the lines between the old and new worlds are becoming less clear. As we learn more about the ancient wisdom that is stored in spiritual texts like the Vedas, we find ideas that have a lot in common with modern scientific research, especially simulation theory. This idea that our world could be a complex simulation is similar to an old Maya idea. A series like Missing Links on Gaia spent an entire season breaking down the complicated rules of living in simulated reality. The main question that physicists try to avoid, because it has big implications, is whether what we experience is the real world or a complex simulation. In many ancient religions around the world, like Hinduism's Maya and Christianity's temporary world, life is seen as a temporary stage, a way to learn before moving on to a different state of being. In the 1940s, scientists started to think about living in a simulated reality. This happened at the same time that the first computers were being made. According to the theory, either a more advanced civilization created us, or we voluntarily entered this simulation in order to learn. This fits with what many ancient traditions say about how our world is just a dream or illusion, a temporary place where we can learn and grow. Nick Bostrom's groundbreaking work in 1991 brought this idea even further into the academic world. It used a complicated algorithm to show that the chances of our reality being a simulation are higher than the chances of it being the base reality. Well-known physicists like Stephen Hawking have thought about this and speculated about the existence of a base reality and the possibility of multiple simulations, which is related to the physics theory of the multiverse. The way a simulation works, with a start and an end, following rules and based on cycles, is similar to how we think about the universe. It's interesting that every simulation gives people a way to get help from outside of reality. This mechanism points to a design where the simulation isn't just a home, but also a place to learn, possibly showing problems our society or others face in the universe. As we deal with global problems that need solutions that have never been seen before, living in a learning simulation can help us see these problems in a new way. When you look at the world through the lens of quantum physics, the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern scientific inquiry gives you deep insights into how things really are. In quantum experiments, the way particles and waves behave emphasizes a basic idea. Observing something not only changes it, it completely changes it. This principle, which is similar to how modern simulations work, says that our universe works like a computer-generated world, where the observed and the observer are inextricably linked and shape what we think of as reality. The upcoming discoveries from Antarctica could completely change how we think about human history. And the fear of change, which is often fueled by stories from outside sources, can paralyze us and make us open to influences that are bad for us and the planet. Even so, there is a glimmer of hope among the talk of unstable global finances, unsustainable energy practices, and the delicate balance of our ecosystems. Solutions to these big problems have been close at hand for almost 70 years. They can be found in energy, agriculture, and socio-economic models that value sharing, cooperation, and sustainability over competition and scarcity. In this case, leadership goes beyond political and geographical borders. This is a call to action for everyone, asking us all to lead with compassion and vision. This kind of leadership means rethinking how we deal with problems in society through the lens of working together and putting the well-being of people and the planet first. It's about using all of our knowledge and technology to find a way forward that respects how all living things are linked. The stories we talked about today make us think about these stories in new ways, giving us the power to imagine and make a world that matches our highest potential. We are on the verge of a new era of human understanding. If you're still with me, I extend my gratitude for your presence, and if you wish, consider subscribing to our channel. And remember, I have a profound love for you and hope that your life is filled with prosperity and happiness to the fullest extent possible. Thank you.